Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Rental Regrets. As always, I am your host, Victor Nub, and today we are looking at The Black Bass, developed and published by Hot Bee, which sounds like just the hottest artist of 2022, but you gotta add a couple of numbers onto the end of the name to make it extra ridiculous. And released in the United States in September of 1989. So, the question that's probably going to come to everyone's mind when they're watching this video, even if it's just for a couple seconds, is, why am I watching a fishing game? And the answer is because this is a game that I remember having at some point when I was a kid. I don't remember if it was my copy of the game. I don't remember if it was one that we just rented extensively, but I do have a history of playing this game, which is why we're going to take a look at it today. Please enjoy yourself at this year's angling event. Thank you. Good luck. I don't think that's what the guy down at the bottom corner there would sound like if he was saying it. He would probably sound something a little more gruff. Please enjoy yourself at this year's angling event. Thank you. Good luck. If you find any bodies, you didn't see nothing. You hear me? And we're going to Lake Amata on June 5th. And it's taking place from 6 a.m. until 4 p.m. So in other words, there's no chance in hell I would be at this event. 6 a.m.? Get out of here. And 63 degrees? No. And it's raining. I'm not doing any of this. So, I do have a little bit of a history of fishing. If you're a gamer like me, you probably almost never do anything outside because, you know, video games are so easy and relaxing. Why would you ever leave your house? It's ridiculous. Well, my history with fishing goes directly with the relationship that one of my sisters had with a guy she was dating while I was probably 7 or 8, I would guess. He was very much a fishing fanatic. Not only was he one of these guys that would go to the kinds of tournaments that this game is about on a regular basis, but he also worked at a tackle and bait shop. Oh, we got a fish! And I have very vivid memories of spending an obscene amount of time at that place because I used to spend a lot of time with my older sister. We were very good, close siblings at that time. And let me tell you, the smell of the kind of rubber they use in lures is going to be burned in my memory for the rest of my life. It's bizarrely sterile smelling. It's got a little bit of... how do I get this damn thing coming back this way? Come on. Yeah, that loud ting 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 sound means that you're putting too much stress on the fishing line, so you gotta let it up a bit. Good news is the fish is all worn out now, so shouldn't fight too much. The bait shop that this guy had, I don't know if he owned it or if he just worked there, but it had a lot of live bait. They kept minnows in little aquariums all around the bait shop, as well as tons and tons of rubber lures and spinners and sinkers and stuff. So I have a lot of that stuff kind of trapped in my memory forever. We ended up going to a fishing tournament that they had in the area when I was a kid. And the event was just for kids so that they could, you know, encourage, I guess, you know, more of an outdoor hobby among kids. So we all went there, and we all, you know, me, my two sisters. My oldest sister was probably too old to participate in it. It was really just for kids. My older sister is about, how old is she? 9 years older than me, I guess. So she would have been way too old for that. But the event was kind of like what we're talking about with this event. You know, it was really early in the morning. This is when I was a kid and was willing, and in fact, more than eager to get up really early in the morning to do whatever a kid does. And it was this lake that was at a local park that we had all been to at one point or another as kids. During the event, her boyfriend at the time was walking around the grounds and, you know, helping kids, telling them where to cast their line, what to do in order to try to entice fish to come out and take the bait and catch them. And while we were all around the lake fishing. At one point, I was just casting my line and throwing it out there, and I didn't really know what I was doing because I wasn't into fishing really as a kid. He walks by and he sees a fish, and he had one of those pairs of glasses that people will wear sometimes when they're fishing that'll cut down on the glare, the polarized lenses, so you could see into the water a little bit easier. And he spots a fish. And I'm sure this is against the regulations for the tournament, but he's like, David, come here. You see that spot right there? All right, cast it right there. And in fact, he may not have even told me to do it. He may have just cast the stupid thing himself. But I go ahead and I cast the line in like he tells me to. And sure enough, I catch a fish. Reeled in myself, and at that point, I think you had to measure the fish by length. I don't think they kept any of them. They were all capture and release. And the fish was big enough that I won second place in that tournament for the kids in my age group. Now, since they had to put the fish back, I wouldn't be surprised if someone else also caught the same fish at some point during the day. Fish are dumb. As soon as you hook them and release them, they go right back to trying to eat the same stupid thing that they tried to eat before. The younger of my two older sisters, because I am the baby, was also involved in the tournament. And my older sister's boyfriend also went by while she was fishing and also saw a fish and also helped her catch it. And she ended up winning first place for her age group. She's about 3 or 4 years older than I am. So both of us went home with hardware because this tournament, in fact, did have trophies that they gave away to all of the winners in the various age groups that they were participating in. So, at the end of the day, even though it was probably highly unethical, one of the anglers that were at this event that were supposed to be teaching kids how to fish and encourage the activity ended up helping his girlfriend's two kid siblings, I should say, win the tournament, basically. Super duper not okay, but you know what? I got a trophy, and as a kid, your, adolescent brain, which can't handle failure or rejection anyway, appreciates trophies, even if they are ones that maybe you didn't win of your own particular effort or merit. And in fact, to this day, I still have the trophy. They didn't end up getting married. My sister broke up with him a couple years later. But yeah, this is kind of my one and only foray into fishing. I would not be surprised if the game that we had at that time was in fact his copy of the game. The event that we went to, the fishing tournament, actually was a couple years before we had our own NES, so I wouldn't be surprised if this is something where we bought the NES while they were still dating. We ended up getting this game, or borrowing this game while they were still dating, and then when they broke up, game went away. So anyway, what I am failing to do here is, this is a tournament for bass fishing. Oh, I see a fish. Oh, it's a big one. Let's see if I can entice him. Come on. Oh, you jerk. The ostensible goal of this tournament, and since the game is called The Black Bass, yes, there is a "the" at the beginning of it, is to participate in this tournament and catch as many as 5, I believe, is the minimum. Bass. It has to be bass, not any other fish type that you can catch, because in this game you can catch trout, you can catch pikes, you can catch, I think, on one other type of fish. I think there's rainbow trout and there's brown trout, rather. But the only fish that counts in the tournament is, in fact, the bass that you catch. And you have to hit a certain minimum average weight in order to qualify for the next tournament. In total, there are 4 tournaments in the game. The amount of fish, I think, stays the same. You just have to do it for average. But the weight, of course, of each of the levels of fish that you're trying to catch goes up. The scale of the fish that you see in this game is bizarre. Because in the first level here, when you catch a large enough fish, I mean, it looks enormous. But when you get to the final level of the game, and I believe it's a lake that's in Japan, if I'm not mistaken, you're catching something like 20, 30-pound bass, and those things look like whales when you catch them. So I don't know if they nailed the scale in this game, and that would probably go in the bad if we were doing a rating on this. Oh, come on. But it is certainly a game where they tried to gussy it up, because, you know, what you're seeing right now is the overwhelming majority of what you see in this game. You just throw a lure. Come on, you were right there. You just wiggle it around a little bit, trying to entice the fish. And, you know, if they get close enough and end up biting, you reel it in. There's not a whole lot else to it. Fishing is one of those sports that is really only going to be fun if you are patient. Or you crave serenity as part of your hobbies. And if you play video games, you probably don't crave any of that. You crave chaos. We'll just cast again. A couple fish tried to bite, but none of them did. Whee! They give you different lure types, and uh-oh. Oh no! I might have to reel in. How do I do that again? Nope. I gotta get it. Hold on. Oh, what am I doing? There's a way to reel in faster, and I'm just not getting it. Oh no! Oh no. Oh, of all the things to happen in this video. Maybe we shouldn't fish here anymore. Well, anyway, let me reset and get back into it. Anyway, the game was always a little bit too hard for me, and probably for my siblings as well, so I don't know if we ever really made it much further than the first lake or two. There is no way to know exactly whether or not you're going to catch a bass until it actually bites on the line and you have to start reeling it in. I do believe there is a way to let them off the hook if you don't want to catch them. How a person does that with a lure attached to a piece of string, in reality, I don't know. All I can say for certain is they do make it so that if you want to, you could try to get the fish off the hook so that you can try to keep going without having to lure them in or sacrifice a one of your tackle, one of your lure, whatever you want to call it, by either fighting the fish until it gets lured in, or reeled in rather, or just putting enough torque on the fishing line that it snaps, and then he ends up with the lure in his stomach. Alright, nothing's biting. Come on, reel it in. They give you... Oh, look at this. Come on, be a bass. Oh, no, it's a giant pike. Good lord, look at that bad boy. It's funny, we're playing a bass fishing game. I'm going to end up quitting today and not having a single bass. Ah, I lost the lure. Yeah, see, if the fish is too big and you put too much torque on the line, it just snaps and then you lose what you were fishing with. I think I have to select another one. What kind do they like going after? As far as I know, it's just the one you start with. The red lure is the one they go after. Alright, I'm not having any luck there. I know there's a couple of hot spots in each lake. There's one right there to the left of that little island, which is in the marsh and the reedy area. And there's one here that's kind of a hot spot. Give yourself as much time as you can while you're reeling in, slowly, moving it back and forth to try to get a fish to come after it. When you do catch a fish, they give you an idea of the size of it, and again, Some of the fish that you're catching here, it looks like you're catching absolute monsters, and then you get them in and it's like, oh, he's about a foot long and he weighs like 2 pounds. It's like, why was it giving me such a hard time reeling it in? That's a tiny fish. I'd also like to know where I am, that it looks like I'm on the side of a desert. I'm not saying that there aren't bass anywhere near a desert, but at the same time, this almost looks like I'm at the edge of an ocean, and bass, I'm pretty sure, are freshwater fish. Alright, no dice. I thought I saw something there on the edge. Guess it gave up early. There it is! I figured it out. You gotta hold A and B at the same time to reel in fast. Nothing there. Let's try here. I don't know if there's a specific way to move the lure that's going to make it more enticing. You're ideally supposed to imitate, you know, whatever creature you're pretending to be with your lure. I have no idea what this is. I would assume it's some kind of small fish. But that doesn't look like any fish I've ever seen in my life. Maybe a goldfish? Who knows? Oh! Another stupid pike. I think we're gonna go away at the end of this episode with 0 black bass caught. I believe what that sound is me letting out a little bit more line so that there's not so much torque on the fishing line. Not 100% certain on that. At the very least, I'd like to catch 1 bass before we finish for the day, but who knows. I also think if you use different lure, they actually go deeper in the water. As you can see that there's a depth meter there, so if the fish is trying to drag you back down away from the surface of the water, it'll start going up. And in fact, the head will kind of go under the surface. Alright, so what'd I catch? It was a pike again, wasn't it? Come on. It's a rainbow trout. Yeah, look at that. A 2-pound rainbow trout. That thing looked enormous. Alright, we're going to move one more time. We're going to try... Again, as far as I know, this is considered one of the hot spots of the map. Now, it may be a different time of the day that it's a hot spot, but this is where, in theory, you're supposed to go if you're trying to catch bass. And they don't tell you to change the lure with any of the strategy guides you'll look up for this particular game. They just say, use the red pencil bait, come to this area, and, you know, you're at the right time of day and you have a little luck, you'll catch the fish. I think there's a way to... Oh, look at that monster. That's probably a 3-pound fish, according to the game. Oh, it was so close! Oh, you touched it! It was on your lips! It's so good when it hits the lips. That's right. If I had to reel it in from that far back away from where I cast it, man, that thing would have taken forever to get back in. Of course, I would not be surprised if that was, in fact, another pike. Oh, man. I just want 1 bass, man. Give me 1 bass. Nope. Alright, reel it back in. We'll cast one more time. There is a password save system in this game, so if you make it to one of the next lakes, you can always go back directly to that one instead of having to start the whole thing over, because, man, This shit is boring. I would hate to have to do this again if I was not able to advance in the next tournament. You want to see some progress, and if you spend, you know, 2-3 hours playing this game and you don't catch a single thing worth turning in for your tournament average, oh, I would give up. Alright, I think this is gonna be it. If we don't catch a fish here, we're gonna go ahead and call it. This one is already... Oh, we caught a bass! Woo! There we go! Bring that big boy in. Come here. It's gonna be like a 2-pounder. I don't know what the required minimum weight is for this lake. I want to say it's an average of 4 pounds, so you really need to catch some big fish. No, you don't. Get over here. I like the little beady eyes they put on it. Like the pikes, they almost don't even look like fish. They look like sentient logs that have bitten onto your lure. He's got no fight left in him. Give a little extra lure or line there. You're almost in. Don't you do it. Got him. All right, we caught a black bass in the game called Black Bass. I feel like I've accomplished something. All right, come on, Vance. Why does this take so long? Oh, look at that, a 3-pounder. That's, okay. They say it's big, but actually I think if you don't get an average weight of 4 pounds in this lake, they don't let you move on to the next tournament. So what they call big is actually not that big. Let's go ahead and wrap it up there. This is not the most exciting game in the world. Final thoughts on it. It's fishing. I don't know if there's a whole lot else that really needs to be said about this game. It is a fishing game. You go out to a lake, you have a day to try to catch as many bass as you can, and try to hit an average weight that you're supposed to hit ostensibly to advance into the next tournament. If you don't hit it, you don't advance. You have to repeat the lake that you're on, and if you're at one of the next lakes, you may be out of the tournament altogether. You may have to start over, which is why they put a password system in there so you can just start from the second or third or wherever you are. I don't love that in an event that ostensibly has you catching bass, there are so many other fish types that can end up getting caught on your line and wasting your time because you can't turn those in as part of the tournament. The graphics are extremely simplistic. You know, they have a flat plane that doesn't change much, that you're just casting into, that's water with maybe some lily pads, maybe some marsh, maybe some, you know, shoreline that I guess is supposed to be beach, but there were a lot of plants growing on that beach. The moving fish under the water, I mean, the animation is about as simple as it can get. It's literally just 2 different frames that are flip-flopping back and forth. I feel like that's something I could have done in an afternoon, and somehow they managed to sell a video game with that kind of animation on it. If you love fishing and you love slow, peaceful gameplay, I guess this is the kind of thing you're looking for. I don't see myself ever going back to this game ever again after looking at it today. It's just not my kind of thing. Not to mention, the music in this game is just terrible. It's just bad. There's some energy when you actually catch one of the fish and reel it in, but that slow droning, that song sucks. And unfortunately, it never changes. That's the same song at every single lake when you're casting and trying to reel something in. It's just a bad droning song, and I don't know why they thought that was the kind of song you want to hear while you're fishing. That's bad. Yeah, my regret for this particular episode would definitely be that I wasted the money to look at this today. I could have just as easily just said, oh, I never played a fishing game before. I've never heard of this. This is definitely not one of those games that I think even as a kid, I would have actively gone out of my way to rent. This is not my jam. This is like farming simulator. I'm sure there is a market because they keep making them for people who want to simulate the act of farming in a video game. But man, that's not me. Neither is fishing. You add that to BMX riding and, I don't know, water sports, I guess, of any kind. Yeah, that's not what I'm interested in any way. So that's going to do it for this episode of Rental Regrets. As always, I do appreciate each of you watching, and I will see you next time.